human on video without having to physically be in front of a camera. I think that was the original problem I was trying to solve for both my business and my teaching experience. And that's what ultimately led me to HeyGen and AI video content creation.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the AI SEO Insider podcast. I'm Chris Ralph, an AI SEO and GEO expert. I'm also the founder of Boulder SEO Marketing, a boutique AI SEO agency right here in beautiful, sunny Denver, Colorado. This podcast cuts through the AI hype and features people getting real results. If you're a marketing professional, business owner, SEO expert, or agency owner trying to figure out how AI fits into your strategy, you're in the right place. My guests and I talk about implementations, results, and practical tactics you can use immediately. Today, we're tackling AI powered video production. We all know video dominates engagement, but traditional production is expensive, time consuming, and not realistic for most businesses. My guest is proving there is another way. Benjamin Kepner is the CEO of Global Social Media Marketing, a full-service digital agency based right here in beautiful Denver, Colorado. He's been using AI video tools like HeyGen for over 2 years and went from producing 30 to 40 YouTube videos a year to, I think, over 120 last year. Benjamin, I caught your presentation at DigiMarcon in Denver. I think that was back in October, and I knew I had to get you on my show. Benjamin, welcome to the AI SEO Insider podcast. Before we dive into AI video production, give us the quick version of your background and how you became one of the early adopters of this technology.
Yeah, thanks for the warm introduction and having me on the podcast today. Very excited to be here. A quick intro of me is, I kind of started my career in social media when I was starting my marketing career and really started on the organic side. Eventually, as organic time went on, I said, this takes a lot of time. I'd rather do paid ads. So I've done all the paid advertising on social. And then now, modern day with my agency, we do both. And so, it's finding a balance of finding time for both the paid and the organic. And another thing that I do is I also create marketing courses. So I'm teaching right now at a number of different universities across the United States through Zipline's education. And one of the things as a part of that process and also teaching at other places, right? If I'm creating like an online course, it's very difficult, especially as a business owner, to be on video and be on camera every day. So how do I kind of multiply myself, human on video, without having to physically be in front of a camera? I think that was the original problem I was trying to solve for both my business and my teaching experience. And that's what ultimately led me to HeyGen and AI video content creation.
Awesome. All right, cool. So at DigiMarcon, you mentioned going from 30 to 40 YouTube videos a year to about 120 last year. That's a 3-4 times increase, right? Quickly walk us through what that production looked like before AI versus now. What was the bottleneck that AI video actually solved?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the actual production of the video is what it solved the most. However, it does touch all parts of a traditional, video creation process, right? Everything from kind of brainstorming to scripting to the production. And then there
Right.
are some tools that can also help with the post production of the video. And so I think ultimately, the biggest bottleneck for most people in video, not even just myself, is having the talent, having the physical location, having the time to shoot the video that is high quality with the correct scripts, narration, actors, whatever that might be. And so I think that's where, going from that 30 to 120 videos, our normal process was manual. I'm going to work with our script writers. I'm going to review the script. They're going to edit the script. I'm going to review the script again and finalize the script. Then it's going to go into production. So either I'm on camera somebody on our team's on camera, then we're getting that raw video footage. It's being edited. And then I'm seeing the edited version. Then I'm getting another round of approvals. And then finally, that's what you're seeing on the final video of our YouTube channel. AI is just cutting that time in half. To your point, X on videos, we're very happy with that in a year to create 120 videos. That's excellent. And it's quality content that's also still being reviewed by humans.
Yeah. In fact, before we started the recording here, right, we're on Riverside, a very popular podcast recording platform. You couldn't hear me because you were on other platforms, which probably messed with your settings. And I'm like, oh my God, it's going to take my team so much more time, right, to record this in another platform and then take it back into Riverside, where they have a lot of AI features. So this is the reality, right? We're now using AI to do so much more in less time. And that's what we're talking about here today. So you discovered HeyGen at a high level summit at that moment, and that moment seems to have changed how you approach video production entirely. Take us back to that moment. What clicked for you that made you go all in on AI video? And if somebody doesn't know what HeyGen is, can you quickly explain what that is?
Yeah, so HeyGen is essentially a video AI tool that's focused on AI avatars. So when we say like an avatar, right, just think of that as like yourself or any character in that matter that's like the virtual representation of you. So I can take a video of myself in 30 seconds and upload that into a solution like HeyGen. And now HeyGen is able to take any script that I give it and produce a full length video with my avatar. Now you can do avatars for celebrities, colleagues, friends. As somebody that works with a lot of different businesses and business owners, a lot of business owners don't like to be on camera. So that's a really good solution for a lot of small businesses. The other thing that you can do is you can also do like language translation. You can do voice cloning. So if I don't want to be on camera, but if I want to be like a narration, or I want to use another person that has my voice or being in other languages. So yeah, I think that kind of answers your question around like, hey, Jen, the moment of discovering like, hey, this is going to be this big thing for me personally was just seeing actually the speaker. His name is Billy Gene is marketing. You're probably familiar with him. He's very well known in the marketing industry. I mean, he is very adamant about how all of his videos now are almost solely created with AI video. I mean, he was one of the early adopters. I think he's gone on now to do like Sora. He's a big promoter of high level. I'm a big supporter of high level. So, sometimes I think I meet these people in my marketing career and they just give me these ideas that I'm not even thinking. He was so ahead at that time and seeing where he is now, I've just kind of followed that trajectory.
Awesome. So here's something that blew my mind from your presentation at Digimarcon. You said your AI twin actually gets more views than videos featuring the real you, the real Benjamin. That seems counterintuitive. What's going on there? And what does that tell us about how audiences are actually responding to AI generated content? Are you disclosing that they're watching Virtual Benjamin when you put up those videos?
Yeah, so like last year, I think it was still pretty early on, right? I think it was like beginning of last year or the year prior, like within the last year or two. YouTube has said, hey, now we have this solution that's going to identify if it's content created with AI and we're creating this visibility. You see that across most social media platforms now in 2026. Like it's arrived. Every platform is saying, here's this feature to say that you've created content with AI. For us, that was kind of being released because we were kind of early adopter. So the way we kind of handled it is we would, if somebody left a comment or asked if it was AI, we were transparent. We said, yes, this is Benjamin's AI twin or AI avatar. You could also kind of tell, right, still when you're watching AI videos in modern day, if it's the AI version of somebody,
Yeah.
especially if you know who they are, even more so. So I think for us moving forward, is a lot of companies are thinking about, yeah, things like AI SEO, right? They're fundamentally maybe changing the way that they create content so that it can be found or well accepted. And I think for us, that's kind of the initiative this year, right? Is like Let's just start labeling things as labeled with AI. We're heavily using it. We've proven that our content can still get just as much engagement, whether it's created with AI or not. So let's just be transparent about that. Not everybody is going to take that approach, but I think for us, it's a good approach, it's a safe approach. And I really don't want to be misleading to like our fan base or people that are engaging with our brand. On the other side of that, which is really interesting, I did recently just do like an influencer opportunity with a company called QR Tiger. And you may have heard of them. They're like a QR code scanning company. And they had all this language in their legal contract of uh, best use cases of AI video content creation, things like that. They said, Benjamin, actually, like we think you have a great audience on LinkedIn. Like we've seen you've got this very large audience of marketers on LinkedIn. We actually want an authentic Benjamin. We don't want the AI twin that we've seen all over YouTube. I think that's also still respectful. And 2026, I think there's, as any marketer, it's testing, but then also there's kind of the branding side of it, right? If I'm just putting out AI content all the time, there's never me physically, then I might come across as like the AI slop or, not actually connecting with people on an emotional level. So, it's interesting. Last year, AI did the best for us. But to start the year, that video that I just created with QR Tiger is number one. And we did release other AI videos this year. So I think ultimately what that tells you as a marketer is to know your audience, like what they're interested in, what's the topic, what's the value that you are providing from that video. And I think that's what is kind of what I look at when I look at the metrics in YouTube. I'm like, hey, this is a video that people are really trying to figure out what is the best QR code scanner. We optimized it for SEO and it was promoted authentically with another company as a co-branding opportunity. That video did very well for those reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think there's nothing wrong with using AI the right way. Clearly, you have figured it out with video, right? I don't know if you stopped by my presentation at Digimarcon. So we actually figured out how to develop content with the help of AI. And, we don't cut any corners. We actually do it the right way, but we're able to create content with the help of AI that actually ranks at the top in Google. So I think a lot of people, they don't do AI the right way. So I guess a note is like, if you want your AI content to rank, whether it's video or just written content, do it the right way. So that takes me to my next question. Let's get a bit tactical here. You laid out a step-by-step process at Digimarcon, know your audience, script writing with AI, creating your avatar, voice cloning, editing, translation. And you mentioned that earlier. Can you walk us through how this actually works in practice? When you work with a client, what does a typical video production look like now at GSM?
Yeah. So normally, like the video, we have like video script frameworks that we've used. So I have like a specific one for YouTube, or I might have a specific one for Instagram. So they kind of start with like our internal, here's a good, framework for creating a video. So that has like a starting point. So we're not just starting from blank. Then usually I'm trying to challenge our script writers or our video editor to kind of leverage the AI tools, notably like Gemini Pro, ChatGPT. They're going in, they're saying, here is this audience. So like if I have a B2B company, I'm going off a specific vertical, or if it's a B2C client, I'm going after a specific target persona, right? I'm kind of starting with the audience first. And then it's like, what is the goal of this video? What is the outcome of this video? What are the next steps that I want this consumer or business to take from this video? And you can kind of, put that into your actual prompt, right? You kind of set those guardrails down in your prompting. Then you're going to get a rough draft prompt output of this video script and maybe give it some more criteria, right? It's a 30-second video, it's a 1 minute video, whatever. Then that's where my team is taking that and they're kind of just starting with that as like, almost like if they were having a collaboration meeting with me on like coming up with ideas. They've already gotten that with AI. Then they're going to write the video script. So like ChatGPT, Gemini Pro, very good for kind of helping with like editing, scripting, things like that. Another thing that we can do is we can also create like images. So normally we would use like stock photo images or stock photo videos. Now that process has changed a little bit where I can use a Nano Banana Pro or I can use DALI and say, create a storyboard off of this script. Now that's super powerful because back in the day, when I was first doing video, I was literally hand drawing storyboards and nothing against hand drawing. That's fun. I love
Yeah.
doing that. I still love drawing modern day. It kind of gets your ideas down. But to create a script and a storyboard and have those connected without having to spend hours and just doing that in minutes. Now I can kind of visually start to see who are the characters, who are the scenes, where are the settings, how are the transitions. So that helps a lot. So now I'm kind of using the image generation to fuel the video creation a little bit more because I can make images quicker. And then finally, you're going to kind of get to like, yeah, a storyboard format. Now, some people don't use storyboards in their video content creation. That's fine. You can make great videos without it. But again, if you're looking at like traditional video production, you always had a storyboard. You might have frame shots. You might have timestamps of the transitions. So if you can get that detailed, then your video is going to be more in line in that creative output. And then finally, there's kind of like the generating of the characters, right? From cloning the voice, you can choose pre-selected avatars. The editing and the publishing, I would say my editor has told me he's trying to learn more of that, but, the Adobe, like, Creative Suite, they have some built-in, like, color grading or, fixing of some of the, you know, shaking in the video or maybe some of the audio, like, those are things that have been around for a long time. So I don't see as much gains in the editing process, I would say, of all the steps. And then the final thing is the translation, right? Like, people for translation, I still think it's not 100% there, but it's gotten a heck of a lot better. And it's just being careful, right? Like, if you're going to go make a bunch of videos in different languages, try to have at least a human of some sorts review that because you could say something in another language that might not be appropriate in that culture.
Yeah, that's actually my next question. So you mentioned translating your entire Go high level course into Spanish using AI, and you've got courses in Italian too. As someone who works with international clients and teaches at the University of Strasbourg, France, the multilingual angle definitely fascinates me. How good is the translation quality, in your opinion, or the people that review those courses in those languages? And what are the pitfalls people should watch for?
That's a great question. I mean, a lot of it comes back to like, honestly, just like translation tools that have been around for a long time. I think, like, if you take something in English, like, let's use the word high level since we've mentioned that a few
Yeah,
times in our podcast. If I go to, translate that in Spanish, it's going to like literally translate the word high level and not know that it's a software.
yeah,
Right? So that already is this, well, I know what you were trying to do in the translation there, but it's a brand name. So yeah, like, I know, for example, like in other countries, like it's called Coca-Cola for Coca-Cola. Maybe it's kind of thinking there's a brand translation, but in some of those international, like, videos that I've seen, they don't always translate the brand. Then they might also translate it literally where it's not, again, getting kind of the colloquialism or the feeling of the word, or it's not the right. If I'm speaking Spanish in Mexico, which is speaking Spanish in Colombia, there's kind of a different way of saying things. Maybe there's more informalism. Formalism is another thing. I feel like a lot of the translation that I see is more formal. It's not as informal. It doesn't feel as like conversational. So, that can be good and bad, right? Sometimes when you're talking with your colleagues or your clients, it's not always formal. So you want to kind of deliver something like that. So those are some of the things that I've noticed. And then I think, it's just not perfect is my analysis, right? Like, what are the pitfalls? You need to speak the language, in my opinion, to kind of just gut check it. And it's pretty close. I mean, I would argue 90 to 100%, but I know some of the videos we put out in Spanish because I speak Spanish. Like, hey, I probably wouldn't have said it that way, right? I would have said it a very different way.
yeah.
Or not that it's inaccurate, it's just maybe it doesn't have the same meaning that I was trying to represent originally.
All right. So I guess point being is like just have it reviewed before you put up something
Have it
that,
reviewed. I
yeah,
mean, another solution too is you could just run it through another translation tool,
yeah.
right? I think that's the big thing with AI that I also took away from the conference we were at is like, don't just use Gemini Pro. Don't just use Claude. Don't just use ChatGPT. Like, use multiple sources to see if your AI is giving you the same output.
Absolutely. So you mentioned traditional video production can cost in some cases tens of thousands of dollars and take months, right? Back in the day. With AI video, you're claiming costs can drop up to 90% and timelines shrink dramatically. Can you give us some real numbers from your experience? What does a project that used to cost X now cost with AI?
Sure. Yeah, I think that depends on like your video production budget ultimately, right? Like, still modern day, it's still happening, right? A video production company will quote somebody for usually the length of the video, the geography around it, the talent, right? Those all have different types of pricing. And then you have like your hard costs, right? Of your actual like production equipment and then the time for the staff to kind of man it. You might have in a video production set 2 to 3 people if it's a simple project. If you're dealing with like an enterprise brand or with the government, they're gonna need a higher level video
Yeah,
production shoot. There might be 20, 50 people on site. I think the difference now is, again, is that you don't have to wait now to like go somewhere. If you want to have this, yeah, I think they showed that as well at the conference. If you want to have a video, and somewhere in the mountains that, you couldn't even physically get and summit to that top of the mountain, you can get there now. Same thing with like talent, right? Maybe you're not going to get, let's say, a famous actor, but you can get somebody that you're trying to appeal to for a certain audience or, certain ethnicity or demographic that you weren't able to get previously, right? Because you're trying to find that person in that region or somebody that even has the acting skills. So I think some of those things have like dramatically reduced the cost. So talent, time, the setting. Some people now, they're not even really using editors, which I don't agree with that personally. Like, I do think that editing is important. I think you should have in any company somebody that has a video editing background to take the AI and edit it and make it more humanized and better and professional. I don't know if the editing capabilities there are still on the high gain. So I think those are where the cost reductions are. And I see a lot of companies now, especially small to medium sized businesses, not doing the high level video production shoots anymore. They're just using the AI tools and they really just need people that know how to use the AI tools to make great videos. And they're getting that in some cases.
yeah. It's mind blowing how fast AI is evolving so many things, including video production, right? Who would have thought? So this is the AI SEO Insider podcast. So I have to ask the SEO question, right? From
Okay.
what you're seeing, how does AI generated video content perform compared to traditional video when it comes to search rankings, engagement metrics, and time on page? Do you have data that you can share?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I would say on average, like, for example, just because I know it's like relevant in my head is the high level course that we did last
Yeah,
year. A lot of those videos, average watch time, 35%. That's actually pretty good on YouTube for a long form video that's, 10 plus minutes. I mean, some of those videos were 15 minutes long, right? So that means if I'm getting over a third, somebody's watching our videos for over 5 minutes. I mean, that is great in the age of 2026, right? We're in this
yeah,
whole world of short form content creation, 5 second, 10 second, scroll, swipe, whatever. So I think that, what that tells me is, we have a good hook, we have a good title, we have a good description, we're using hashtags, right? It's getting ranked also on Google, like it's coming up in search results from Google outside of just YouTube. One of the things that I think I also want to improve, outside of just the transparency of, hey, we're making videos with I want to figure out, and somebody I think was mentioning this also at the conference, to a phase where our team is no longer doing the CO of the video when it goes published on YouTube. Like we already have the process to do that. I just need to take that process and feed that into a custom GPT or a custom gem and literally let that become an AI person or a company moving forward so that they can optimize the videos as soon as they get published. That's a manual task we can take out of our company. We have not been doing that. So I'm very curious to test that and start to see, are there gains from doing an AI SEO agent doing that versus our team doing that? Because some of that too takes time, in my opinion, right? I might
yeah,
rank for a certain keyword within the first 3 weeks or 4 weeks, but I don't know that until it's actually giving me like the vidIQ or the TubeBuddy software feedback as SEO tools. And that's kind of how I judge are videos getting ranked. I'm using these AI SEO YouTube specific tools. They're telling me and they're like giving me recommendations. That's really where I'd like to get more into just automating that process long term if I can.
I'd love to. Maybe we can do a follow-up chat in, I don't know, 6, 9, maybe 12 months, and just to gauge, what has changed. I think that'd be a cool podcast where we can do a follow-up and see, compared to now, where are we in 6 to 12 months? Um, all right. So at Digimarcon, you ran through a bunch of tools. I noted, wrote a few down. HeyGen, Sora, ChatGPT for script writing, as you just mentioned, Otter.ai for transcription, Creatify, InVideo, Morph.ai for voiceovers, the script, 11 Labs, the list goes on. If someone watching this podcast has never touched AI video and wants to start today, what's the minimum viable toolkit you'd recommend?
Yeah. I think the easiest to just get started, in my opinion, is VO with Google Gemini Pro or Sora with ChatGPT, right? Those are, pretty intuitive tools. Obviously, you can get more advanced with them. They are constantly being updated. Even to the point now where, like, I've been using, ChatGPT and Sora so much more, but now everybody's asking me more to create with VO. So, keep an eye on that. I think those are like the must-have easy marketer tools that anybody can if you understand basic prompting, you can get a lot out of that. I think HeyGen is gonna be more specific around, like, characters and story development, or especially if you're trying to have, like, thought leadership. For me, teaching courses, being at conferences, just trying to get out content in general. I can't be on camera every day. So, HeyGen makes a lot of sense for me, right? Having an avatar. I think if you can get those basic tools, you're great. Murph.ai, Otter.ai, those are also really well known, well respected in the video production space. But you can even get some of the audio stuff now, which is pretty cool out of VO, right? Like you didn't actually have the audio capabilities, I think even 6 months ago in some of the LLM models. And now you can get everything from the image to the text to the video to the sound. So start with those and then, yeah, some of the other ones that you listed as you get further down that process. It's good to just think about that workflow and having a tool for each workflow.
Awesome. Couple more questions. Let's quickly talk about copyright and rights question.
Yeah.
I think someone at your Digimarcon presentation actually asked about protecting their AI likeness from employer misuse. This seems like still uncharted territory, right? What's your take on the legal and ethical considerations of AI avatars, especially for employees?
Yeah, so I think the big thing would just be, and I have my notes here, misleading claims, no real person likeness misuse, no copyrighted logos or elements. Those are like absolute no-nos. Like if you're
Yeah.
going to do those things, then you're going to open up a can of worms legally, or I mean, even a bad PR crisis at that stage. I think the other thing is that you want to just fact check or you want to detect things. So to your point, I think we are in uncharted territory for AI detection tools. I think like if you go to the K-12 educational system, I know this because I have some students that are in K-12. A lot of our, children or future generation, it's gonna be dictated in their classroom setting that their teacher is going to say, you must reference AI sources in your final paper or final assignment. And I am going to use AI detection tools to know if you just went to ChatGPT and copied and pasted your homework assignment. I think education has to be more on top of that than anybody right now. But I think businesses run a huge risk, especially in highly regulated industries in which they need to have proper detection tools. And I don't hear a lot of marketers, like even right now, 2026, as of today, talking about Benjamin, I'm using this AI detection tool. I'm using that AI detection tool. A few of them that are out there, Winston AI, Copy Leaks, GPT Zero, Originality.ai, and Hive. The other thing you should be doing is in your prompting, you should try to, if you get an output, say, I need citations of sources where you're getting this information from. I think if you can start with those basic principles, it's ethical and you're practicing best practices. But as I also teach in my courses, I'm no AI lawyer. That's its own profession. If you're a bigger company, you should have your lawyer looking at some of
Yeah.
that stuff that you're doing with AI.
Oh man. Dude, we could go on forever. Last question here. So looking ahead to 2026, we're already in this year and beyond. Where do you think AI video production is headed? What capabilities do you expect to see in the next, let's say, 12 to 18 months or 6 to 12 months that will change the game even more?
Yeah, I think there's some things that are already happening, but I think it's like the multiplier effect of them, right? Like, we've already seen like Coca-Cola doing an AI Christmas commercial.
Yeah.
We've already seen full length featured films being put on AI. I think where we're at right now is, with all the slop, how many people are going to start getting turned off to AI and how many people are going to still consume AI? And who are the brands that are going to be visible about that? I feel like a lot of brands today are still not really telling you that they're making all this content with AI. So I think hopefully there will be policies around that. And then on the detection side, I think that will start to become an AI process where not even marketers, but actual consumers have tools available to them to identify when something is actually created with AI. And I think that's an interesting dynamic. Big idea is somebody is becoming a millionaire or the next best movie in the next year and it's all AI. And I think that's a crazy idea to think that, you might have some AI content that is going to do better than some of the past
Yeah.
creative that we've seen.
Crazy, crazy. I got a few rapid fire questions for you. So without
Okay.
thinking, just blur it out. All right. Wine or beer?
Wine,
Dogs or cats?
dogs,
Beach or mountain?
oh, mountains,
Indian or Chinese food?
Chinese,
HeyGen or Sora?
HeyGen.
Awesome. Benjamin, this has been incredibly practical and fun. It's the end of the day, I can barely talk anymore. I know people watching this are going to want to start experimenting with AI video probably sooner than later. Where can people find you, learn more about your company, Global Social Media Marketing, and check out the AI video course you mentioned?
Yeah. So our company website, it's pretty long, globalsocialmediamarketing.com. If you want to reach out to me, that's a good place. Just go to our contact us page, fill out a form, book a call with me. Always happy to talk shop with people and give them an initial free consultation. If you're interested in learning more about like our course that we created last year, it's in my second company, which is called Suite Courses, not like the candy suite, but like the C suite, like the suite in your hotel room. So SUITE course.com. And we actually did create an AI video production course. Goes way more into depth than some of the things we talked about today and kind of gives you the process and workflows we use to create videos with AI.
Awesome. Benjamin, if you can please shoot me an email with all the links, like the stuff that you mentioned that you'd like to have included right below in the description field of this YouTube video. Make it as easy as possible for people to find this really valuable information that you mentioned here in this podcast. Benjamin, this has been a blast. Next time, let's catch up in person over beer again. I'd like to thank you. Again, my name is Chris Rolfe. I'm an AI SEO expert, founder of Boulder SEO Marketing, a boutique AI SEO agency. As always, everybody stay safe and healthy, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.